He keeps himself in trim by bending bars of iron. This bar is the genuine article which we tested before he began to play with it.
Beyond the bend, beyond the bend.
All right, Bobby Wilson, welcome to Beyond the Bend.
Glad to be here.
So we'll start it like we always do. Tell me about the first time you saw someone bend a piece of steel.
Well, I was on Facebook. A friend of mine, I was watching some of the people that he's connected with, and I seen Robert Nedgley.
Yep.
Pocket Sampson. I saw him bending some stuff. I actually seen him tearing cards, and I got, to talking to him, and he kind of started coaching me a little bit. And then I watched him do the 22 60s for 22 days in a row.
Uh-huh.
And I got to talking to him about bending steel, and he kind of walked me through it, and I can't do the double overhand because I guess my years of powerlifting, I don't have the flexibility up in my shoulders. So I took to the double underhand, and that's really the only thing I do. But watching him bend was awesome because the guy's only like 123, 124 pounds.
Yeah.
He takes down the red nails, and he brace bends some big stuff. And the S and a hammer, I seen him do that. I'm like, seen some of the stuff he had done, and I even seen him some license plates from North Carolina. We got some tough plates down here. And seen him some stuff, and he just go right through it. It was amazing to me to watch him, what he could do at his size. And I've been in powerlifting since 78 was my first meet. And
Okay.
I've known some strong guys over the years, and they couldn't do what he does.
Wow.
I know you got to be strong, but you got the strength is not always, you're not always going to be the one that bends the biggest stuff. You got to have the technique. You got to be strong. But powerlifting, weightlifting is a lot different than steel bending. It's just a whole different animal,
Yep.
That yourself, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, to a small degree, but I'm learning more and more. I started all of this like about at the same time, more or less, and I tinkered with weights here or there, but my main thing was just getting out on the mat and training, grappling with people, so I didn't want to beat myself up in the gym too much to not be able to perform on the mat. But now, with COVID, I had time 100% to dedicate to strength and experimented with all different types of things. And, I felt like it took a good year to just understand even how to do it, to be honest, like to figure out what I respond to and what I feel like works and what's a relatively realistic load to then be able to train another day, and what to eat and when to eat and all this stuff. It's just been a good learning experience. And, even though I'll be back training now, I'm still going to be progressing with the strength stuff. I just like it too much, and I've invested too much in a home gym.
Oh yeah. All right. Exactly. Yeah. I've been stockpiling mine over the years. I used to work out with a friend over in, about 15 miles from here. We worked out together for many years, but I've been getting my own stuff at home. So I work out at home mostly. And you got an advantage there, you work out when you want, do what you want.
So you said you started powerlifting in 78. And I know from talking to a lot of people and friends of mine that, powerlifting has gained in exposure as we've grown, maybe because of CrossFit or the internet or whatever. What led you to powerlifting in 78, and what was it like then? Because I'd imagine it's very different than it is now.
Well, back then you didn't have the drug-free competitions. Everybody was thrown in a class together. You didn't have the supportive gear like you got today. A lot of it was raw lifting, and today you got you got your drug-free meets, and you got your meets where guys can do what they want. That's fine. That's them. But you got your 100% raw meets where you got no gear at all. You're maybe allowed some wrist wraps, a belt, no knee wraps. You can use sleeves. And then you got your equipped meets, which I like to use. You can use the squat suit, the knee wraps, the bench shirts, deadlift suit, if that helps you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of difference. I mean, and back when I started, you only had the AAU. That was at that time, I think that might have been the only one. And then you had the ADFPA and the USPF, and it's just fractured. There's so many organizations, so many different federations, and they all got their world records, So it's got so many different records. And it's just all fractured. But there's a lot of people into it, the powerlifting. It had a real shot at being in the Olympics back in the 70s. But then the drug use is from what I've understood, over the years, that's actually what kept it out.
Yeah.
They were real big on drug testing, and them guys couldn't pass the test.
Right.
Got, about powerlifting, right? You got 3 attempts at each lift. You got a 3 attempt squat at each deadlift.
Yeah.
Total out of the 3. But it's a lot of fun though. I enjoy it. I've been to many places because of my powerlifting. I've traveled right much because of it.
That's great. So what were you doing prior to that? How old were you in 78, or like what time?
I was 19 years old in 78.
Okay, great.
I traveled to Greer, South Carolina for my first powerlifting competition and bombed out at 165. I weighed 165 pounds.
Nice. That's what I weigh.
But yeah, I mean, we traveled all the way to Greer, South Carolina on the bus. It was about, 15 of us. We lifted till 11 o'clock that night. I think I pulled my last deadlift at 11 o'clock. I pulled the same weight 3 times and got red lighted on all 3 attempts. So I was out. It was very disappointing. But
so what was your athletic background growing up? How'd you get into powerlifting? Did you play sports all growing up, or did you start lifting young? Or
I didn't even finish school. My dad had a set of weights when I was probably 11 years old. And I would go out there and mess around with them. And that's what got me interested in it. And then what little bit I did was in school, I picked it up in school. No, my thing was baseball. That's what I liked. But
nice.
I never finished school though. But
yeah,
I was introduced to weightlifting by my dad, probably.
Great. Yeah, I guess that's a lot of people's story. I think that's obviously my first exposure. My dad, just do some benching and curls, and I don't think I ever saw him do a squat or a deadlift or anything like that, but just normal garage stuff. And that was probably my first exposure to it too. And I played baseball in the beginning of high school as well. And a lot of guys, actually, Jay Johnson was a big baseball player. Some other guys I've talked to, it's a common one too.
I love baseball. I mean, that's my thing. I like that.
Yeah, nice. So tell me about the first time you actually tried some bending. So you saw Robert Najedli online doing it. So this must have been how long ago was when you saw the bending?
2016. I've done a lot of card tearing. I tore cards for a right good while. I got where I could split a deck into 6 sections and notch a deck. But I like to tear them in handcuffs and stuff like that.
Nice.
Then I tried steel bending probably in 17 or 18,
Okay.
And I started out with the 60s. I couldn't even do a 60 to start with. I had to keep working on that until I got to where I could do it. And like I say, everything's double underhand,
Yep.
But I've tried to double overhand, but it doesn't work. Now I can do some reverse bending, and I'll do brace bending occasionally.
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably 2017 before I started bending.
And how did that work with Robert coaching you? Were you sending him videos and he'd kind of give you some tips on that?
Yeah. He would send me videos and actually walk me through it and the process of how to do it.
Nice.
And, we just talk back and forth on Facebook and send videos. I actually met him in Austin back in January of last year.
Oh, great.
Went out there to the old time strongman seminar. Dennis Rogers and David Whitley.
Yep.
I met Robert out there and Adam Glass and several of the guys out there, and they were all strong.
Yeah,
very strong.
Definitely. Yeah, there's something in the water in Texas or something, because some strong guys down there.
I see some of the stuff that Adam does and Tanner.
Oh,
it's just unreal,
Those inch replica farmer carries they're doing lately. That's something else. So what were you using for wraps? Did Robert tell you what you should have for wraps? Because I always hear some funny stories about what people use originally.
I actually bought my first set of wraps. He ordered them from Chris Ryder.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I was using his wraps, and I still use them today. All the wraps I've used since then, I've ordered from Chris.
Oh, good.
I still use the original wraps, which they're about wore out now, though.
I bet.
They have a good feel to them.
Yeah. I was like asking that one because sometimes people are like, oh, I cut up a pair of boots or a pair of jeans or put it in a dish towel, like all this kind of crazy stuff. So about how many weeks of training before you got movement on the 60D?
Well, I would say I've probably done a couple of weeks on the 60s. I would brace them. I would get it kinked, and then I would finish it off.
Yeah.
Within 3 weeks, I was doing the 60.
Nice.
And I would get my 60s from Lowe's, and they're not that hard. Okay, they are when you're first starting.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been going to just a general hardware store, and getting some 60s, and I've been getting some bastards.
Oh yeah.
They're tough,
Yeah.
I mean, I could put two 60s together and do them now, no problem.
Oh, nice.
Robert asked me, he said, well, what do you want? What do you want to do? I seen him bending wrenches and stuff. I said, I would really like to be able to bend the crescent wrenches.
Oh yeah.
That's no problem anymore. I've actually been a 10. I've actually been to maybe 3 10s.
Nice.
10-inch crescent.
That's a cool looking trophy. The 10 inch is a nice one because that's big. that one stops people.
That really impressed me when he was doing that, seeing him do that. How can this guy his size do that? And when we went to Austin, he took a horseshoe and bent it raw hand, barehanded.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's amazing. The variety that we have in 60Ds, and I'm finding in the 80Ds too, that it's just like crazy. Because when I had done some Iron Mine blue nails, and I had heard that was about, equivalent to a 60D. So I ordered a 55-pound box of 60Ds. And when these things got here, they were so hard. They were closer to like a grade 5 toughness or something. And so it's been good training, but man, and then I've had other ones that feel like so easy. It's crazy. There's just a wild variety in the 6-inch nails.
These the ones I just got from the local Ways Hardware, they're equivalent to a grade 5.
Yeah.
I've got some grade 5 bolts that I had ordered where Martin gets his from, and it's about the same feel.
Yep, I believe it. Definitely. So you've done some pretty cool challenges recently. You did like a birthday challenge, right? Where you bent a bunch of spikes. Tell me about that.
Well, last year I wanted to do something. I bent 61 60Ds for my birthday and tore 6 decks of cards in 4 sections.
Nice.
This year I said, well, I'm going to bend 62 12-inch, spikes. So it really got the cardio going. I was breathing hard,
Oh
more
yeah.
cardio than anything,
Yeah. Those are cool.
I wanted to do something different. I said, well, I'm 62, so I want to do something that maybe, no other 62-year-old man's going to do. So
yeah, I believe it. I think you probably got that one for sure. there's some out there that you guys are gonna hold on to. I don't know if you listened to Carl Donaty's episode, but he bent the red nail it worked out to every 2 weeks for 10 years. He didn't miss.
I heard that, yeah.
Isn't that a crazy? That's a crazy feat that probably no one will ever do. and I wager no one else will bend 62 spikes.
I don't know about the spikes. Now somebody might beat me on that one,
Not on their 62nd birthday, I don't think.
But talking about the 8-inch spikes that you were saying that you got, it was hard. I've got one yet that I can't put a kink in it.
Oh wow!
I have bent some ADDs.
Yeah,
but they're from Lowe's. But the ones like I got from Ace Hardware, the ADDs, I can't kink it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they those vary a lot too, a whole lot.
Well, that's what I've been told. They vary a lot.
Yep.
It's the same way with horseshoes. I buy maybe 40 horseshoes at the time, and you can go through half of them, and then you'll hit one or two that just, you can't hard it. Well, you can go back and do it later maybe, but they're really tough. They're very hard.
Yeah, definitely. So take me through like a normal week of training for you. I see you're out there, you're still doing, heavy lifts, you're mixing in the steel bending. What's a normal week of training look like for you? And do you plan it out or you just go totally by feel?
Well, on my big lifts, I usually plan that out because I like to have like a cycle, maybe an 8-week cycle. And I'll fill in with my bending. Try to bend at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I like to bench on Monday, but now that I'm working out by myself, I can do it when I want. So like, I can't remember if I deadlifted Saturday or I think it might have been Saturday. But anyhow, I'll deadlift on Saturday, and then I may squat on Wednesday, and then I may bench on Friday, or I may bench on Monday. I just keep my body guessing. Now, when I was in competition, it was every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Bench Monday, squat Wednesday, deadlift on Friday. That was every week. Sick, holiday, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I was in competition, and I was not going to miss my workout.
Yeah.
But now, I just skip around, but I try to get all the 3 big lifts in every week. And the steel bending, I try to do at least twice a week, sometimes 3. It depends on my hands. But I like to do volume on the 60s. I'll warm up with the 60s. Then I'm a tool and die builder, so I get to order all my steel through the shop, and I order 20-foot lengths. At a very, I can get a 20-foot length piece of 5/16 hot roll for like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
And then I'll just cut it up.
Nice.
I'll start out with the 60s and warm up, and then I like to do some behind the hand. Behind the head, I like to bend behind the head.
Nice.
And, then I'll do maybe 5 of the 5/16. I'll cut them to 7 inches or 7.5. I'll do maybe 5 of those, and then I'll throw in some of those hard ass nails and do those.
Yeah.
And I'll do that twice a week. Or some days I may just bend 60s. And it just depends on how my hands are feeling. I have bent too much in one week, and then it takes me a while to get over it.
Oh yeah.
Hands be sore, fingers be sore. I like it. At least I got to keep the bending every week, because if you don't bend at least twice a week, to me, I feel like I'm going backwards instead of forwards. Because I would really like to certify on that red.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 62, but that's one of my goals for this year. I want to certify on the red. But I'm just trying to do some harder steel now in the grade 5 and the grade 8 bolts.
Sure. Yep. And now, is that on the days you're lifting heavy, or do you do it on the days that you're resting?
I do it on the days that I don't lift is when I bend.
Yep. Okay. Nice.
Because, like with the bench, you're benching, you're using your triceps, your shoulders. And then if you're bending, you're using the same muscles, basically, your shoulders.
That's the biggest one I hear, is people staying away from benching and bending, especially double overhand with all the chest and everything.
I get it in the chest for the double underhand, because I'll get it right across here.
Yep.
Sometimes, depending on how hard the steel is, what I'm doing.
Yeah. 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 I found I think I watched McGranahan or somebody, because I
Does double underhand. Steve
yeah,
does.
he's good. He's good. And he drops it to the belly button. That's like when I found more power, is driving it down there,
Well, I seen when I was out in Austin and Adam Glass was doing a demonstrating. And when he did the double underhand, he would grab it, get it where he wanted. He would go over his head. And then when he would come down, he would bring his traps up. So I started using that, and it seemed to work better. So
that's a good idea.
You get a little more power that way.
Yeah. Yeah. The little things make a big difference with this.
Yeah.
That's why I like talking to everybody, because you just pick up little things that make such a difference.
That's why I wanted to get over and work out with Robert one day, because Robert Miller, because he could probably help me with the double overhand. I'm sure he could show me something that, where I could get in position better. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A friend of mine, Devin Hoover, just sent me some, I forget what it's called. It's just like some type of plastic rod that flexes, but it won't break. And you wrap that up, and that'll help you get in position, and you can just crank on it, and it helps you. Like if you're doing a 7-inch bend, you use your 7-inch trainer, and you can just get into position and crank down on this and get this whole area to open up. So, because I with the double overhand too, I think it's from my posture from playing guard and jiu-jitsu. And that the 7-inch bars plus my wingspan's not too long are tough. I like the 6-inch much better. But that those trainers have helped for sure.
I ordered some, I can't remember what he calls them now, but I've got 2 I ordered from Django Black. Where he makes the parachute ropes. I've got 2 of those.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen those.
Those are very hard.
Yeah, these are polycarbonate rod. I remember what it is now.
I've seen some other guys talking about that on here.
Yeah, it works pretty good. So you mentioned the red nail. What other goals do you have as far as bending goals? And you include, lifting goals in there too, if you're still working on those.
Well, the red nail, definitely. That's what I want to concentrate on this year. And I may go back to Oklahoma in sometime in the summer and do a meet. I would like to do 420 at 62 on the bench. I'd like to do that. But, that's another goal. And the Goliath bar, I would like to do that.
Oh yeah, me too.
I bought some steel, and I haven't kinked it yet. But
yeah, it's a tough one. You got to get on the Harito list if you haven't yet. You should pair up with somebody, and so you save on the shipping. But because it's coming from Germany and the shipping's not cheap, but they're sponsored to the show, and anybody will save 10% if they use promo code Cheers. But he has, if you look at it, sometimes they're posted on the Steel Shredder page, the Harito bolts, but these things are great because the 4.8 is like somewhere around a grade 5. That's the beginner bolt, but it's thick. It's 5/16 by 7, so it looks cool. And then the A4 is like maybe a little harder than a grade 8, but not as hard as a red nail. And then the A2 is like around maybe a little harder than a red nail, but it's stainless, so it feels different and it's harder to crush. And then you go up from there, and there's an 8.8, which is a very elite bolt. Then the 10.9, which is even crazier than that, and the 12.9, which only one Russian guy, Alexander Klimovich, is the only one who have done that unbraced. And only a few guys have even done it braced. So it's there's some cool bolts on there. So you got to check that out. Pair up with somebody so you save on shipping.
I just saw on Facebook today, I can't remember who it was, but they put a picture of their package. They had just got a shipment of bolts.
Oh, nice. Yep. There's good ones in there, and there's so much more. Like you can build up to the ones, rather than the red nail. The blue to red gap is insane. That's why everybody fills it in with grade 5 and grade 8 and drill rod and everything else. So what's nice about Harito is that it steps up really nicely, and there's separate lists for double underhand, reverse, snapping, brace, barehanded, one pad, all this, everything. I'll send it to you when we get off the call, and you can look through the style certs, because it's cool. And only one guy, Josh Goldthorpe, has done every one. So he's done barehanded, one pad, double overhand, snapping, reverse, double underhand, the whole gamut.
It's mind-boggling what some of these guys can do. You know, it's just
definitely.
What about the gold nail? Is anybody is anybody certified on the gold nail?
No, nope, not to my knowledge. There's been a couple people to have done it in the conditions, but not in time.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep. Yeah, pretty crazy. That's a tough bar for sure. Even braced. Have you done one braced?
That's very hard.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
I would think to me, Don Cummins would probably be one of the first guys to do a gold.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so strong. I mean,
yeah.
I met him in Austin too. He's strong.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Don's great major inspiration for my bending and doing this show and everything. He changed my perspective on bending when I saw his Instagram. It was like, I was like, oh man, this stuff gets way crazier than just bending a red nail.
103 red nails.
Yep, definitely. So what do you think? Like, obviously super strong guy, powerlifting background, everything, but we kind of touched on it with talking about Robert. It's like, what do you think the mental aspects of bending, like where do you go mentally to complete the bend, and how is that different than what do you do in powerlifting, if it is different?
There's a lot of difference. Powerlifting, you know, you pretty much know what you can do, what you can't do. You know, people say it's weightlifting is 80% mental. They say that it's not 80% mental. Bending to me is a lot of mental, because you really got to go past the pain.
Yep.
I've never experienced pain in powerlifting unless I really, you know, hurt or pulled a muscle. But as far as completing a lift, you know, there's no pain. You just strain.
Yeah.
But still bending, you got to get past the pain. So it's a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know, it's like with bending the pennies. When I started bending pennies, Robert showed me how to do that.
That's a cool one. I want to do that one day. That's a cool one.
That's a pain thing. You got to get past the pain. But, I mean, you can do it. But yeah, it's a mental toughness and a pain tolerance when it comes to still bending.
Yep.
I mean, you got to, you know, when you hit the gym, you got to train, you got to lift hard, you got to eat right, and you're going to strain your butt off, you know, to get your maximum weights. But you don't have that pain thing where you got to overcome with the still bending.
Definitely. How about, what kind of strength differences, if any, have you noticed from that you could equate to your bending experience versus just your lifetime of powerlifting? Like, have you noticed any increase? Like, do you feel like your grip is much stronger?
Grip
do you feel like
stronger? Grip and forearm and wrist strength. Your wrist, your grip, and your forearms is a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of the guys that have really strong grips are real good at still bending. You know, a lot of the benders.
Yeah.
Well, you know, got real good grip. They usually do good at bending.
Yeah.
You got to be able to hold it. You know. Yeah, it definitely makes your grip stronger.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And the wrist.
Yep.
I like working the hammers. I watched Robert Miller. I seen some of his videos of him doing I seen him do double 16, you know, at the same time. And I seen him do the 220s.
Wow.
And that's just amazing. So, you know, I started doing some hammer work, and it really, really does it works your grip and your wrist. You know, it makes them all stronger.
Yep. You know,
I do that every week, you know, at least once or twice a week. I will do that, throw that in with my bending.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. The hammers, I feel like, might be the number one thing that, to look at it, you just are like, oh, that looks like I could do that,
Pick it up.
like you just have no clue how hard that is until you actually try it. It's like,
that's a lot of torque on your wrist when you're holding it and you're way out there. That's
yeah. It's I was like,
I've
the
seen
first
some
time
people hit themselves in the head with it, try it.
Yeah. First time I even picked up like a 6-pound hammer, I was like, damn, this is pretty hard. That's way tougher than it looks. All this stuff, like carrying a deck of cards looks like it would be hard, like and bending a nail looks like it would be hard. Frying pan also looks harder than it actually is, I think. But the hammer, it looks so much easier than it is. You go to do it, and the thing is so hard. That's a funny one for sure.
I used to do. Me and my nephew used to go around and do demonstrations back when I was in competition. We would go around and do strength demonstrations at churches. And,
okay, cool.
We did some of the stuff, like bending some steel, which nothing like we do like doing now. Just a long bar. My nephew would bend it over his head. Nothing really, really hard. But we did a lot of break blocks.
Oh yeah.
I had a background in martial arts too for a little while, and I like to break bricks, but and drive nails through boards with my hand. That's one of my favorites. But anyhow, you'd be surprised. Well, you'd be surprised at people that would come out of the crowd and think there's a trick to it. Well, there's a trick to this. I know, you're doing something. What are you doing? How long did you bake them bricks before you tried to break them? Have them in the oven or ripping the phone books. Oh, there's a trick to that.
Yep.
But somebody's going to try it,
Yeah, it's funny like that. I think it's the fact that everybody's handled this stuff. It's like not everybody's handled 500 pounds, so they just don't even know what that's like. But everybody's held a wrench or a nail or a deck of cards, likely, or a phone book, maybe. Some people, not anymore. Those things are hard to find. But so they just can't even comprehend it. It's so funny like that.
They don't understand it.
Yep. You know what else I find interesting with this stuff, and we've seen it over the last year even more because everybody's been so active. It's like how it just takes one person to do it, and then it kind of becomes possible.
Yeah.
It's so interesting like that. I think I mentioned this in another episode, but I'm having Iron Stan, I think his last name's Tamiko, on, but he's the first guy to ever snap a gold nail, right? And I just think about like heading out to do that. Just like, no, I've done it now. It took me like 25 minutes. Brutal. My hands are still healing up from it. But but I knew it could be done because I know people that have done it now, so I had that confidence going into it. But I just can't even imagine like the first guy going out there to do that. It's like so much of a different thing once other people have done it. We've seen that with the horseshoe snapping, like prior to this year, that was a pretty impressive feat. And now, people are snapping them so fast, snapping them in two places. The bar gets raised all the time. I think about maybe the first person to ever bend 5/16 by 7 cold rolled, right? That must have been like the most intense, crazy thing, It's like, it's just so interesting with this stuff. Like there's just such an edge to have seen people do it. And it's like, okay, now it is possible. It's amazing.
I know you think how can they do this, and you see somebody do it, and then like you say, it's possible because you've seen somebody do it.
Yep.
Usually when I see somebody do something, I say, I want to try that.
Exactly.
Whether I can do it or not, I ain't gonna do it in front of anybody. I'm gonna go out to my building and I'm gonna try it. But yeah, it's amazing to see how it's catching on, and like you say, the first person to ever do it, what was he thinking,
Yeah. Well, that's like Chris Rice that I had on last week. He was saying back in like the earlier 2000s, people would, like bending the red nail was like a massive deal, and people would use crush pads on them, and like it'd be this whole battle. And now we see people that can complete them in 2 hits. Like the technique has evolved, and higher caliber strength athletes are involved with it. It's just a pretty interesting thing. Have you tried any snapping yourself, or have you done any snapping at all?
Very little, but I think I need to get into that. It would probably help me progress to the red nail, doing some snapping.
Definitely. I find when I started, it was just like it's sort of like what we're talking about. It was a real mental breakthrough when I snapped a red, right? It was like to just work this thing and then feel it come apart in my hands. Like, we put that thing on such a pedestal, and it's really just another piece of steel. So if you bend that thing and snap it and you see it in two pieces, it kind of seems a little smaller the next time you handle one. It's like, takes some toughness out of it, or at least I thought, it's a good, like, confidence builder, I think, with those things. And
another trophy.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, it's cool to see, and I guess it'll be interesting to see, because everybody was so active, because most people were at home more over this last year. It'll be interesting to see as people go back to their normal routines, like if bending drops off again, or if people stay really involved with it. I guess we'll have to see.
I think it's addictive,
Definitely is. So we're going to start wrapping up. At the end, I usually do the medley, which is a rapid fire series of questions. So, favorite thing to bend as far as materials go?
Probably wrenches.
Yeah. Those are fun, and those are quite the trophy for sure. Like that felt really cool. Like, even though there's steel that's harder than, like, say, a 6-inch wrench or something, like the first time I did that, I felt like I was really, like, tapped into something cool here. That was like that, and the first horseshoe. Those were like major standouts of the last year.
When I bent my first 8-inch spike, that was cool.
Yes,
that was hard.
Definitely. Hardest thing to bend for you, material wise or object?
Right now, red nail.
Yeah. Definitely. Strongest bending style, you kind of touched on this. Double under?
Double underhand, that's my style.
Yeah. How about with the brace? You started on the knee, or you started on the hip?
I start on the hip.
Yep.
I haven't done any, but I've seen some guys. I've seen you do on the knee, and
yep.
But I mostly start on the hip.
It seems like anybody that's learned from any, like, I'll use the word lineage because that's like martial arts term kind of, but anybody that's of the Rogers lineage that starts on the hip, and more of the performers, because that's just what I've gathered is on the hip. That's cool. That's actually when I've tried the Goliath a couple of times that I've actually given it a real try. I feel like I've created the most pressure pressing down on the top of my hip with my arms locked out on the Goliath rather than over the knee, because I don't feel like my arms are long enough to handle the 48 inches. It's a tough one. Weakest bending style?
That would be the double overhand.
Yeah. All right. How about something outside of strength training, bending, this whole world in general that you enjoy doing? Something unrelated.
I like riding my motorcycles.
All right. Nice.
I rode to work today. Very nice day to ride.
Oh, yeah. What kind of motorcycle do you have?
I have a Gold Wing, and I have a 1100 Shadow, and a YZ 400, and a Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
I got a building full.
Nice.
No Harleys.
Yeah. My dad
had against Harleys. I just don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad had a Shadow 750 for a number of years.
I grew up on the dirt bike, so I just kind of graduated into the Hondas.
Sure. Yep. I have a lot of friends up here that race dirt bikes for sure. All right. What's the one bend that's got away? Something you've tried that you haven't been able to complete? Would that be the red nail or something else?
Well, 3/4 hot roll steel.
Oh, yeah.
48 inches long. I got it I got it a good kink in it, but I couldn't get it far enough in to crush it with my legs yet.
Oh, yeah.
About like 45 maybe.
Yep.
I haven't finished that one yet.
Yeah. I've heard that's a tough one. I foolishly, when I got my mid to long bars cut up, I got 5/8 and 3/4 at the same time. And I got the 5/8 cut to 36. And I also got the 3/4 cut to 36. And I didn't realize that would just make it impossibly hard. So I use those as like my pins on my rack now. I just like, if I'm doing some isometrics or something, I just slide them in there. All right, here's a good one. Who's the strongest person that you know or have met? Say like, and this is open-ended because some people say like their grandfather or their dad or mom or something. But if you,
well, I have many, but probably for his size and what I've seen him actually do would be Robert Nedgley.
yeah,
He's probably one of the strongest people I know because for his size, what he can accomplish.
definitely.
He's very strong.
Definitely. Yep. Absolutely. A good answer. I think he's been brought up before during that question. He's this.
He had a background in martial arts.
Yeah.
Robert does.
Yeah. I've seen him do the pinch pull-ups on like the flask.
Yeah.
It's just, that is unbelievable. All right. Best piece of advice you're ever given.
Slow and steady wins the race.
That's a good one.
Do not rush yourself because you'll get hurt. A lot of times when you get hurt, you'll get depressed, discouraged, and then you won't go back.
Yeah.
So just take your time, be consistent. And all the years of weightlifting taught me that. Be consistent. Don't rush it. Take your time.
That's good advice. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to the strength stuff. It's hard not to try to get it all done, but you wind up getting bit by it and then you're set back
your
even
ego
far.
gets the best of you.
Oh, yeah.
Check that ego at the door.
Sure. How about the funniest reaction a person has had when they find out you spend your time bending things?
I said, man, you wasted a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, it's not as much money as I put in my weightlifting career over the years.
Yeah. All right. In closing, who's someone you'd like to see me have on the show that I haven't already?
Do you ever have Robert on there?
I have. Yeah. Yeah, he was like episode like 10 or 11 or something. And this is episode 41, so it's been a long time.
Have you ever talked to David Whitley? Iron Chamber?
He's one I have to get. We were working on some scheduling and we've just never been able to nail it down. So that's a good reminder to get him
He's
on.
very strong. He's very strong individual.
Definitely. All right. Tips and advice for beginner benders and beginner lifters. Something other than slow and steady. We get a little more detailed here.
Well, you got to build your foundation first. If you're just getting into weightlifting, do repetitions of 10, 3 or 4 sets. Build your base, your foundation. The same thing with steel bending. Build your foundation. Start small, do volume until you get your strength levels up before you can start attacking something really. And work on your weak points. Find out what your weaknesses are and work on them weak points.
Yeah.
If you build your weak points, then the rest of it will come up.
Absolutely. All right. And if people want to get in touch with you, I know you're on Facebook and you're in the Steel Shredder group. Do you post anything on YouTube or do you have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel. Bobby Wilson, Old Time Strong Man.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Bobby. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man. I will be in touch and you have a good rest of the night.
All right, you too.
All right.